Hey everybody, this is RC Mechanic, and you're looking at the first special edition of RC Mechanic Garage. Been a while since I've worked on the Jeeps. Gonna work on my wife's YJ today. Well, last time I worked on it, it had a fuel leak issue, and when I went to move it, um, the leak at the back by the tank started again, where the fuel filter is. And we're going to fix that today. We're going to fix coolant leak today, and we're going to put in motor mounts. Okay, so what we got going on here is we got our thermostat, the gasket. I've been collecting parts as I get the money to work on both these rigs. One of the reasons why I haven't worked on them. But as far as the fuel leak goes on the YJ, I have this filter right here I bought for the XJ. But we're going to end up using it for that. Motor mounts, I got them from Rock Auto. Alright, so this one right here should be the left side, and this should be the right side. If I did this right. Okay? So, thermostat's pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. If you haven't done one for, ever, you may want to keep watching, and we'll go through it. Here's where the filter is now, and as you can see, if you can, the hose comes out and makes a really sharp turn up and over. So, and then in the front is a couple pretty sharp bends as well. So I think what I'm going to do is I may just make this a bit longer, and I got a feeling it might be the wrong filter in here. So, I think there's supposed to be like an elbow right up in here off of this filter, but there isn't. And, yeah. And the clamp is barely on this thing. So, let's start taking that off. So, the original plan was to move this to the front, but, thinking that I've already cut a section right here so I can make it longer, and then I'm gonna cut it again up by the top of the frame. Let me show that to you. So I think it's this line right here. I'm just gonna cut it right here, and then I'm gonna run a hose excuse me, I'm gonna run a hose down to the filter. So I got the fuel leak fixed, but you'll never guess. Both batteries are dead. I tried to jump the YJ with Cherokee, but the Cherokee's battery's dead too. And well, I don't have enough power to test the fuel pump to see if anything's leaking. So that's gonna be a few hours. Just gonna have to wait. It's only Saturday. I have all night and all day tomorrow. But anyway, I got this unique thing going on here that I happened to think of, and as I was trying to jump this with that, I figured, well, why not charge both batteries at the same time, right? So hopefully this all works out. It's starting to come around, I think. So yeah, I'll see you here in a little bit, and I'll show you exactly what I did. And it all turned out really well. Now the fuel filter is really secure where it's supposed to be. I did not have to move it like I originally thought, and I just had to put some longer hose in. That's all. Alright. Been a couple hours. Came out, check on this, and it barely started. So let's take a look underneath. I don't want to let it run too long because there's not much coolant. But looking good. No leaks. I routed this here right up there. I zip tied it to, well, the brake line, because it's got to be the right thing to do, right? Anyway, it's stationary, solid, and it shouldn't be jumping around anymore. So I managed to get it backed up a little bit, so I got some room here. So we're going to go ahead and get started on the thermostat. So I believe we'll just go ahead and take these hose clamps off first. Should just have this heater hose and this hose right here. Usually I like to use a socket on these because you can get them a lot tighter. These old ones, they're like a either 8mm or a 5/16. Yeah. Whoop. Almost lost that forever. Okay. Yeah, not much coolant in there. I'm gonna take this temperature sensor, unplug it, and should just be 2 bolts. Let's see what we got. Yep, and the belt's in the way. That's cool. I should be able to just push down on this belt to get that bottom one. So, let's get this top one here. I think it's a 1/2 inch. I grabbed a deep socket so I could use one to do both. It wasn't very tight. I was expecting it to be really tight, but it wasn't. Could be a reason why it was leaking. All right, there we go. There's one. I'll get this other one. All right, there we are. I believe that's it. Yep. Okay, so when you take these off, pay close attention to the orientation on the thermostat. As you can see, just like that. Right? Got enough silicone on it, that's for sure. As you can see. All right, so we're going to go ahead and clean this up. Clean up this area right here. And this truck got hot real quick. It only ran for like 3-4 minutes. Got the water net clean. Let's try to get this here cleaned up now. I like to use basically a scraper and a Scotch-Brite disc on an angle grinder. I know some people like to use other stuff, but like a wire wheel. But and a wire wheel is fine, except it'll leave little pieces of wire all over where you're trying to clean up, and to me, that's just something that I don't want. So I stopped using a wire brush or a wire wheel ages ago. I just do it this way now. All right, so I'm going to see if my hose will reach over here so we can finish cleaning this up. All right, well, it reached barely. So we're going to go ahead and clean that up best we can. All right, that looks pretty good. There's a bit of a... It's like somebody ran straight water in this for a while. You can see a bunch of rust down in there. So, it'll be interesting. I'm just going to take like a small screwdriver and clean this edge where the thermostat would sit, so it has a good seat. Now, I could use just a regular gasket, but I like to use this here. Permatex Aviation Forma gasket. It's just kind of like added insurance, because we sure don't want to do this again if we can keep... We sure don't want to do this again if we can help it. So... And it is kind of runny. If you haven't used it for a while, you'll need to shake it up, stir it up. But boy, is it good stuff. All right, a little paint glue on here. I've actually used this to seal tractor casings back together. You know, when you pull a tractor apart. Okay, so what we'll do is we put thermostat in first. Then carefully set this up here. Hopefully it don't move. Come on. There we go. Get this short bolt run up with my fingers. Get this here close, then we can go ahead and center down. Just don't want to move it all around until we're there. All right. Next thing you want to be careful of is not to over tighten this, because you can actually break it if you do that. All that work you did to put it in will be for nothing. All right. Check this one again. I think we're good there. All right, so all I gotta do now, put these hoses back on and fill up with coolant. We'll check it. Saw the temperature gauge creep up. Thermostat open, came back down. I think I must have bought like a 175, something like that. Sure, that actually probably on the box. But so I'd never seen a Gates thermostat not have it on the thermostat. Even the cheap ones have them on there. But I think we're good on the coolant leak. We're gonna let it run for a little bit more. Make sure that, you know, once it builds pressure, everything's good. Then I think we can move on to the motor mount. Yep, this one's done completely. Let me see if I can show you a picture of that. You can, not sure. I get the light in there. You can see that right there. See the rubber's all gone on the top. Yep. That'll make a big difference as far as power goes. All right, so hey, if you've never done this before, I hope it was helpful. It's not a really hard thing to do. Basically, make sure the gasket areas are clean, that you get the bolts tight, but not too tight. If that thermostat moves on you, it'll the housing won't sit flat. So you got to make sure that it doesn't move. That's why I use that aircraft sealer former gasket. It doesn't dry hard, it stays soft, and it works awesome. So you're gonna want to stick around for the motor mounts. I probably won't get to those today, but we'll see you in the morning. Well, hey, welcome back. It's not the next day, it's actually the next year. I haven't had a chance to get back to this truck several months, you know, just life gets in the way and all that. So we're gonna go ahead and get the motor mounts done so that I can cross that off my list. First thing I'm gonna do here, there's a bolt, if you can see it, it goes straight through. I'm gonna take that out. Alright, that's off. So we can't just go ahead and pull this out because the way the engine's sitting on it. What we can do now is that there's a bolt right here, and on the other side is a stud. This one's a bolt and a nut. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull the bolt nut off, pull that stud loose, and then this here motor mount should be loose. Okay, and I'll show you what the next step will be. My light right here, I got this bolt, the bolt in the back out. I got this cross pin nut off, and I think it'd be easier to show you from underside. All right, because everything looks to be out in the open from down here. Took this nut off, that bolt out, this nut off here. All I gotta do now is push this pin out. What I've done for that, we're getting the Badland jacket test out. Picking it up by the harmonic balancer, only just enough to get the pressure off that bolt. It's just been in there a while, but it's coming. There it goes. Ow. There we go. Okay, so there's a new motor mount. I didn't show you me wrestling it out of there because it fought. where that bolt runs through, there's an actual pipe that it runs through to, and it had been on that on this engine for so long that it did not want to come off. So, and then going back in wasn't quite as hard, but yeah, it fought. Anyway, the new one's in. It's all tightened up. Here's an old one versus a new one. As you can see, this is completely done for. This is actually a new one for the other side, but it's fairly similar except for the height. Okay, so on to the passenger side. Here's what we have to do. It's a little bit different. We're going to have to take this alternator off right here, and it mounts differently on the motor mount. You can see it right down there. On the bottom side, there's a single bolt. Looks like the motor mount mounts to a bracket. So I'm going to take this alternator and belt off, and so we can have some room to get to it. So I got the alternator out of the way, and I took the battery out, you know, just to be safe, because we don't want to have arcing. Go the correct direction. All right. I don't know if this might be stuck. There we go. She's tight, but not stuck. Can't get a very good swing at it. Alright, I guess we're going to have to try something else. Oh, that worked. I got most of this bolt out right there, and I forgot that I had not taken the tension off the engine, so that was part of the reason. Let's go underneath and I'll show you that one bolt. Hopefully this socket is the right size. If you can see it, the bolt right up in here. Let me take that off. Okay, so once I got this bottom nut off and that bolt out of here, all I had to do was basically just pull it out, which was a whole lot easier than the driver's side. So here's the part where I find out if I did right. Okay, now it looks like they're both the same. Now you don't get as much wear out of the passenger side of this as you do on the driver's side, because on the driver's side, whenever you're accelerating, the driver's side of the engine will lift up, and basically the passenger side is a pivot point. So that most of the wear happens on the driver's side. But since I was doing this, I figured I'd do them both. Did not know when they were done last. Fire ants are crazy, pissing me off. So we're doing both. All right, so now all I have to do is take this off of here and put it back in. All right, so I got the new bracket on here. Just got to go ahead and slide it back in. Hopefully it goes in as easy as it came out. So far not too bad, just got to get it lined up. Or maybe I got that backwards. That'll do it every time. Darn bolt holes won't line up. Okay. There's a little alignment hole right here. Not sure if you guys can see that. There's a little tab right here. Guess that tells you whether you got it right or not. Maybe if I just tap it, sort of, into place. Kinda. Now it's crooked. Cool. Alright, so I lowered the engine down. I'm going to put that nut on the bottom and tighten that up, and then jack it back up, then get the bolt in. Alright. So now I got this bolted down and it's tight. So I'm going to jack up the engine. Alright, so I guess I learned something today. Hopefully you guys did too. It was a battle getting it in. A whole lot easier getting it out than getting it in. The bolt that goes through here did not want to line up. I had the nut below tightened at first. I had to loosen it up so I could move it. And then getting it just right so I could get this bolt started through this hole. Man, I tell you. And here I thought this was going to be the easy side. I'm going to go ahead and put this alternator back on. Alright, so that's it for this video. Hopefully y'all learned something. I know I learned a few things. I have not done motor mounts on Jeep YJ 92 Wrangler before. So that's my first time. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I was able to show enough. And next coming up on this truck, probably going to be doing tie rod ends, things like that. I have a new tool, oh, it's new to me, for aligning the toe on the front by yourself. So look forward to that. Got to put some battery cables in. I bought a new battery for it. So, and a whole lot more. So stick around for the next video on this truck. Should be fun. And I hope you like this one. And thank you for watching. I hope to see you again. If you have any comments, questions, whatever, give a like, click, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.